Hi, I'd like to introduce you to SolidCAM Editor. Now, what exactly is SolidCAM Editor? Well, let's take a look for a moment. There are times when a programmer would have a program that he had done, and he sends it to the shop floor. Now, there are times where the shop floor, the actual machinist himself, may be a little more experienced when it comes to the feed rates and the spin rates on the part itself, or maybe cases, for example, there's a night shift and a tool may have broken and they have to put in a new tool, and the tool is slightly different than it was before, and you may need to make minor changes in the program itself. So Shopfloor Editor allows you to make these minor changes without having the capabilities of creating new operations. Let's take a look at how this works. As you can see, right now I have this working as a standalone, but this works as well in standalone and in SolidWorks as well. I'm going to open up a part, and for this case, I'm just going to use a simple part that I already have here, and we can see the entire SolidCAM tree that you have before. You'll note that if I try to create a new operation, such as add new milling, for example, face mill operation, you'll get a notification telling you that you're not working in a full license. So this shows you that it's only for the use of making minor edits. So let's go into an operation for a moment. Let's say I'm going into a pocket operation. Perfect example. Okay? Now, in my pocket operation, I'm going to go into my levels and I have my step down. I have it now at 4 millimeters. Now, if I look at my tool for a moment, you'll see that the cutting length of my tool is 4 millimeters. So it can be used there with no problem. That's the way this particular tool has. Now, I'm going to go out of the operation for a moment, going to go into my toolkit. If I open my toolkit, I'm going to go to that particular tool, and I'm going to say, you know what? I have a new tool now that I have on the shop floor, which I didn't have before, and the total cutting length of this tool is not 4 millimeters, but it is at a total of 8 millimeters. So I can change that to 8 millimeters now and save and exit. All this can be done inside the Shopfloor editor. Now, when I go back to this particular operation, since I'm an experienced machinist, I know, you know what? In this particular case, now that I have a 16 millimeter end mill that has a depth of 8 millimeters on the cutting length, I can actually have a larger step down. So I can change my step down over here. Say I'm going to change it to 6 millimeters. Okay? I can also go into my tool and change the data of my tool. For example, if I decided that my feed rate was a little bit too slow for this particular tool, I can speed up the feed rate to, let's say, 1,500. Change the spin rate as well. I can do basically almost any of these minor edits that I need. All I have to do now is do save and calculate. And I can also see my simulation. Now let's take a look at the simulation, and that's something we can also see inside our SolidCAM Shopfloor editor. You can see the simulation over here, and I'm using the SolidCAM simulator, and you can see all the different step downs. Right now, it only did it on 2 step downs. That's what I needed over here. Now, one other part that's very important is the fact that you can also then create at the end a new G-code. By clicking on G-code, you can see now that we have a G-code created within the Shopfloor editor. Now, the Shopfloor editor runs inside of SolidWorks as well. I'm going to open the exact same part, and you can see the exact same type of functionality. Now, the advantages of having inside SolidWorks itself also is that sometimes you want the operator to see the actual model itself and not just the CAM tree. So if you want, you can also have him have a seat of SolidWorks together with the Shopfloor editor. Now again, you cannot create a new operation. If I try to create a new operation, you'll get that same message that you're not working in a full license. But you can do all the changes that you need. For example, again, I'll go back to my toolkit and I'll make that tool that I had before, which I changed now to a cutting of 8 before, if you remember. I'm going to change it now back to a total of 4 millimeters. I'll save and exit. And let me just go into this operation over here. And exactly what I did before, I can do now as well. I can go to my levels, change this back to 4 millimeters. Okay. Again, I can go into my tool, change the data, make the minor changes I need. I'm going to just leave it as I want as right now. Do save and calculate. I can go out of here. I can do again, calculate all of my operations that are needed. I can run my simulation. And I'm just going to run it now just on that particular part. And I'm going to use the SolidCAM simulator. And now you can see that the simulation is being done with many step downs. All this within the SolidCAM Shopfloor editor. Now, just as before, we can also create the G-code as well. Just by clicking on G-code, or I'll just go even out of here and create a G-code for everything. Right click over here, create G-code for all, and I have my G-code for all of my operations done at the Shopfloor edited stage. Now, one more note. We also have today the SolidCAM Shopfloor simulator. This is specifically made for programmers that would like to send the program down to the shop floor, but do not want to have the machinist doing any kind of editing. All they want them to do is to be able to look at the simulation and just create G-code if needed. So this SolidCAM simulator will do just that. It will not allow for any editing, but it will allow for simulation and G-code creation.